Advance on the Grizzly Crew Sports Network. I'm your host for Survive Advance, co-host Mike Goodpaster. I want to welcome in my co-host, a member of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, a member of the 1981 Indiana Hoosiers who won the national championship. Help me welcome to the show from sunny California, Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Doing great, and it is sunny out here today, finally.
You look much younger today, Steve. Did you get some new lighting or something?
Nope. I just took a shower.
Okay, it's Tuesday. All right, guys. Today we're going to discuss Tim Tebow, former NFL quarterback, minor league baseball player, who could be coming back to the NFL. And it seems like he is a polarizing figure, to say the least, Steve.
I've always been a Tim Tebow fan. I mean, I think he's a great role model for a lot of fathers to raise their kids. He's lived his life, by the good book and tried to always do right. Great college football player. Never had the skill sets to take that same skill, that same success into the NFL. Although he did have some memorable moments, I would say. But I'm not sure of the validity of this whole thing going on. It's another one in a long line of succession of athletes who don't know when to say enough is enough. I'm done. I'm quitting. And I paraphrase just a little bit. The auto racing graveyards are full of guys that retired and then thought they could come back and win the Indy 500 one more time. Mark Donahue, Peter Resson, two names that come to mind that had pretty well walked away, came back. Now, I don't think Tebow's in jeopardy of losing his life, but I wonder what's going on here. And I know in our pre-meeting we talked a little bit about it, and I think you have a theory on it. So I'm going to let you spell out your theory.
Well, I mean, the guy's a good football player. He won the Heisman Trophy. Urban Meyer and him are really close. So Urban Meyer's throwing him a bone, giving him a shot. And nobody says anything when Jeff Fisher names his son to be an assistant coach, or Bill Belichick brings his coaches in to be assistant coaches, or Sean McVay gets a shot before he's even 40 because his dad was John McVay, who was a head coach of the Giants and a GM in the NFL. Nepotism is rampant in the NFL. The thing that upsets me is the fact, and I can see where Tim Tebow could be a usable piece to a team. I mean, if he's a third tight end, why couldn't you turn him into a guy like Taysom Hill? I mean, what the Saints do with Taysom Hill, it's a handful of plays, but it does cause issues. And a wildcat, he can throw the ball, he can run. And Tim Tebow's a guy that everybody said when he came to the NFL, if he would switch positions, he could probably be an NFL tight end.
Yeah, but Mike, in all defense here, Tebow hasn't taken a professional football snap since, I think, 2012? 10 years ago?
2015, I think, was the last.
15, okay. That's and he's going into a position that he's never played before. I don't question his athletic ability as an athlete. He looks like his physique, he's kept himself in incredible shape for a young man of his age. But you're also talking about the skill sets of playing tight end in the NFL, catching balls, taking hits the way he's going to have to take hits coming over the middle. And the other thing is with the rampant nepotism going on, and I agree with you 100% there, is he taking away an opportunity and position for a kid who's played that position his entire life and who might be actually a step better than Tebow? But we all know that Tebow coming to Jacksonville under Urban Meyer is going to put some people in the stands.
It's going to sell jerseys too. I mean, they can sell jerseys before they cut even.
Yeah, exactly. But is that fair? And I guess there's nothing fair about professional sports. So I know I'm going to get hammered on this one, but there are kids out there who have spent their life playing tight end and who are probably better qualified to play that position in the NFL than Tim Tebow. So is this just another marketing ploy by the NFL and the Jacksonville Jaguars to sell tickets
Well, how about
and jerseys?
Urban Meyer's a good football coach. Urban Meyer's putting his neck on the line here. If Urban Meyer wants to sign Tim Tebow to play tight end, he worked him out.
Sure he does.
Why
Right.
not? I mean, the thing is this. There's going to be 80, 90 guys on that roster. Almost half of them aren't going to make the team. So
Right.
the thing is this, are you really taking a spot away if the guy's not – if Tebow makes the team, he didn't take anything away from anybody as far as I'm concerned. He's good enough to make the team. I mean, and now he could take a spot from a kid that nobody's heard of that may show up and play really well. But the thing that really bothers me is when you see Jamil Hill and all of these people, Booger McFarland, complaining about Tim Tebow getting signed and equating it with Colin Kaepernick, which is not the same thing.
No, absolutely not. Although, how long has Kaepernick sat out now?
4 or 5 years.
Are we at that threshold with him too that his fight it becomes mute because would you want to build a football team around Colin Kaepernick right now?
Well, the problem with Colin Kaepernick is he doesn't want to play football. So
no, he just wants to make social statements.
Hey, this is the thing. I know I found
he's making more money doing that than he would play football right now.
Yeah, I found a tweet where, on 2011 4th of July, have a happy 4th of July. Everyone, I hope, has a blessed day. And then you fast forward to 9 years later, and his happy 4th of July is black people have been dehumanized, brutalized, criminalized, terrorized by America for centuries, are expected to join our commemoration of independence while you enslaved our ancestors. We reject your celebration of white supremacy and look forward to liberation of all. So right there, I mean, something happened in that time. And I think the problem is this. When you look at those two, 2011 is before he realized that, he grew up in a world where he was brutalized, even though he had white parents and he grew up wealthy. And, most of this conversion for him has to do with Nessa Daib, who's an Egyptian-born hip-hop DJ, minor TV personality, who absolutely poisoned him against this country and his adoptive white parents who raised him. And that leftist activism she filled his head with basically destroyed a really good football career. I think Colin Kaepernick was a hell of a quarterback, but it turns into 2-14, and he became better known for kneeling while the national anthem was playing than he ever did for what he did on the field. And the sad thing about that is this. He took the 49ers to the Super Bowl, played really well, threw for over 300 yards in that Super Bowl. But people are just going to remember him taking a knee. It's not that I have a problem with him taking a knee. You know this because I think we used to have this argument back in the day. I've got no problem with somebody using their platform to try to bring, injustice of any form out. But the fact is this. He doesn't want to play. If you look at 2017, there was a mess with the Baltimore Ravens. They basically were going to bring Kaepernick in as an insurance against the injury status of Joe Flacco. Right before it happened, Diab, his girlfriend, put out a tweet equating legendary Ravens linebacker Ray Lewis to a slave for team owner Steve Biscotti. That was the end of Baltimore signing him. You had the Denver Broncos, who actually offered him a contract. He turned it down. Right after he turned it down, he sued the NFL for allegedly colluding against him. And then last year, there was a workout during the season, which teams don't do. There was scheduled in November with 25 or 26 NFL teams. He objected to the standard contract everybody else has to sign, and instead of showing up for that workout, conducted his own. He doesn't want to play football, so it's not the same damn thing.
Yeah, well, and then, I don't know, in some way, is Tebow the antithesis of Colin Kaepernick? Here's a kid who I've never heard anything resembling a racist comment come out of Tim Tebow. He's always spoken eloquently and well. He's always said the right thing. He's the kind of kid every NFL team would like to have on their roster and showing up at the kids' hospital, passing out signed footballs. I mean, Tebow's got a reputation entirely. He's a Heisman Trophy winner, for God's sake. He's entirely on his own. Is this maybe something deeper than – we're going to get into conspiracy theory here now. Is this something that the NFL, maybe looks at and says, man, Tebow's just a guy we'd like to have representing the NFL?
See, I don't think so. I think that it wouldn't surprise me if they end up, reneging, not even bringing him to camp. I think the NFL will pressure him not to, because I think that he is the antithesis of what the NFL wants. I think he's the absolute opposite of what everybody in this country wants right now. You don't want a guy out there who, when he goes on the field. I mean, if you remember in college football, he won 2 national championships. I think 2006, 2008 with Florida. And on his eye black, he would put Bible verses. And the thing is, when he would do that, for the next 3 days, the leading thing on Google was whatever that Bible verse
Bible
was.
verse was.
92 million people Google searched the last time he did that, the verse that he put up.
Well, okay, Mike. Why is that any different? Why is it any different to put that on your blackout than to put Black Lives Matters on the back of your NBA jersey?
Because Black Lives Matter is a communist organization. It's not it's a movement. I mean, it's obvious black people.
Black Lives Matter is a real estate agency out here in Topanga Canyon in Los Angeles. They own like 5 mansions now so far.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna get hate mail on this.
The problem is this. I mean, Black Lives Matter is a joke. It's basically a group run by white people to help control black people because they don't want black people to have their own say. You get guys like Devin Bush and Jameel Hill. You know, Devin Bush, I can't wait to play them. I mean, what an asshole. I mean, really, what has Tim Tebow ever done to deserve this? I mean, Tim Tebow basically...
Well, that was my point at the very beginning. He's just taking a spot away. I think they'll keep him. I think he'll start the season on the roster.
Well,
he's a good enough athlete. He probably can get the concept down of playing tight end. But in a game crunch situation, if you're the Pats going against Atlanta, you know, and you've come back 32 points since halftime or whatever they came back, do you want the ball going to Tebow or do you want to go into Gronkowski?
Well, that's a stupid question because Gronkowski would be the guy you'd want to throw to over any tight end that ever lived. It's not equating him with a Division II tight end from Carson Newman who's trying to make the roster, Steve. I mean, Tim Tebow is not going to be the number 1 tight end. But the fact of the matter is this. Why do we hate on somebody when we have no reason to hate on somebody?
I'm not hating on him.
No, I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about overall. Why not give him a chance? I don't see the issue with this. He's a really good football player.
Yeah,
I want to know why it's polarizing to be a good person. That's the thing that really bothers me. In this country, all of a sudden, you're a distraction if you're a good person. That's an issue to me. And I mean, Colin Kaepernick, I'm not saying whether he's a good person or a bad person. I believe this. I don't believe that cops just go out and harass black people. I think there's a lot of cops that harass everybody. I think everybody ought to take a knee for that. I don't have a problem with anybody taking a knee for anything. Whatever you believe is fine by me. You can take a knee. You can not take a knee. I don't care.
See,
why would what? Go ahead.
No. First off, I think Liz Cheney's a good person.
No, she's a scumbag because she's married to Dick Cheney, who's a horrible warmongering bastard.
I think Liz Cheney's a good person,
she's not. Why would
she's not? She's not a Trumper, so she's been trumped.
Hey, neither am I. And you know what? There's no difference between Trump and Liz Cheney because they're all a part of what controls us. The media right now is controlling the narrative on all of this. I mean, once again, I don't know what Tim Tebow has to do with Colin Kaepernick. I mean, he's not trying to play quarterback. I mean, this is the thing. If you want to compare Kaepernick and Tebow, Tim Tebow is attending a training camp to try out for a different position where if he makes the team,
my only beef, Mike, is just that I'm with you 99% of it. I just think that I'm going to question the validity of him making the squad on his athleticism as a tight end. I don't think that's going to be the most important decision as to whether Tebow makes the squad or not.
Now,
maybe Tim has some locker room leadership capabilities that I'm not aware of, that you're not aware of. You would be better suited in that than me.
All I can tell you is I think that is maybe one of the main reasons Urban Meyer wants him there. You've got a really young football team that's going to need leaders. You got
a young quarterback? Yeah.
Yes. I mean, who better to help, your quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, get through things than Tim Tebow? And the thing is this, if you look
bring him on as a coach.
Hey, He wants to play. Let him have a shot to play.
Okay.
I don't see what the issue is. And once again,
You're right.
anybody, and he's trying out for a different position. He's going to be a backup. He'll be paid the minimum salary or close to it. He just wants to play the game, and he's willing to do whatever it takes for a shot at playing that game, even switching positions. Colin Kaepernick, in contrast, has shown no interest in playing at any position, let alone a glamorous one, less glamorous one as a backup quarterback for comparatively little money. And once again, 2 years ago, the NFL bent over backwards to try to get him signed. And I think he'd have been signed if he'd have showed up. They had 25 scouts show up. The NFL doesn't do that. And it turns out, even though they did that for him, he wasn't happy with the contract everybody else signs to do the workout. So then he called them racist for doing the workout.
He had a better contract with Nike.
Well, he still does either way.
He still does, yeah.
I mean, Kaepernick bailed on the workout, held his own media event because he's a me guy. And you know what? If he's a freaking slave, he's the highest paid slave in history.
I think there was a point in time when Kaepernick's cause was justifiable to the message that the minority wanted to get out in about equality. I think there was a point in time when taking a knee probably meant something. I think now it's just become a symbolism for something far less than what it was originally designed to be.
Because the guy who originally did it sold out. And
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
He doesn't want to play. He didn't want to play then. He doesn't want to play now. He's nothing but a con man, a grifter. He's an actor playing a role. And the NFL doesn't want actors on their sideline. They want players. Colin Kaepernick is not a player. He doesn't want to be one. He hasn't wanted to be one.
I disagree with you. They were begging Kaepernick to come back.
And that's what I'm saying.
So they want actors on their sidelines.
Yeah.
They want Kaepernick.
Yeah, they want to go ahead and...
He was their easiest pathway to Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he doesn't want to. And he hasn't wanted to be a player since he discovered how much money there was to be made pretending to be an actor.
Being a non-player.
Yeah, and if you
that brings me to another thing because we're going down.
Real quick, though, I wanted to get this out.
All right, okay.
There is one huge thing that Tebow and Kaepernick share. They both have led a blessed life. They grew up wealthy and famous. I mean, their parents had money. And in the end, this country has treated them both extraordinarily well. The thing that pisses me off is this. Team Tebow seems to be aware of this fact. He exudes gratitude and humility because of it. He loves his country. He's grateful for the opportunities that the country has afforded him. That's an attractive quality for all people, I would think. People want to be around people that are like that. Kaepernick, on the other hand, is sullen. He's spoiled. He's ungrateful. This country has given him everything, but it's never enough. He always demands more, not because he's earned it, because he feels entitled to it. He's a self-victimizing drama queen. All right? Rich, whiny, entitled asshole. And you know what? This is the thing. I wouldn't want my movement concerned with that. And this is the thing. I think right now you could have players take a knee, and it really does mean something because it means something to them, and they wouldn't sell out for it. But Colin Kaepernick sold out.
I don't agree with you, and I'll tell you what. My eyes got opened 4 years ago moving to Los Angeles. I grew up in idyllic rural Indiana, where everybody's a conservative Republican for the most part. And you have one way of life there. You have pretty much a dominant one race that pretty well dominates and controls that state. And really, honestly, in Indiana, one way of thinking. And that's the majority. That's not universal. But then I came out here to Los Angeles. There is rampant racism in this country. I mean, I see it out here every day. There's just racism out here. And I think that Kaepernick wanted to fight that battle initially, but then people started paying him to fight that battle, and the mighty dollar once again takes over.
That's kind of my point, Steve. Is what I just said.
I know. But I don't want to say that Tebow's this idyllic angel and Kaepernick's the evil Roy Slade of the world.
never said that.
And
I just
and
said
um,
that
and,
there's no
and the fact
reason.
that I think that Kaepernick started with the right mentality for the cause he wanted to take on. But somewhere it got muddied with the green dollar, in my opinion. Which leads me into the next part of this, um, in kind of what we've talked about, what Tebow's trying to do, what the Jaguars and the NFL see his value is to the NFL and to the Jaguar franchise. Should athletes be using their sports as a platform? Is that fair to fans to do that?
Yes.
Yes?
I mean,
I
why would you?
disagree.
Well, see,
I don't want to hear it.
well, you know what? You may not want to hear it, but the only way you could sometimes hear something is we know that everybody puts athletes on a pedestal. If this athlete speaks out, was Muhammad Ali right to speak out against the Vietnam War and not go? Because he was right. And he started a movement about 1965, 66 when he protested it that opened a lot of people's eyes to it. The problem is there's not many athletes. There's never been another athlete like Muhammad Ali.
No.
And what he
But he
did,
walked away from the sport for what, 3 years too?
now he didn't walk away. He was forced away because he stood up for what he believed in. He didn't get paid for 3 years. They were the best 3 years of his career because what he stood
And so
up
did
for,
Kaepernick.
he meant. No, he didn't.
Well, he was a Super Bowl quarterback.
Yeah, he was a Super Bowl quarterback.
I mean, eventually the 49ers found a reason.
Yeah.
The 49ers eventually found a reason to get rid of him.
Because he was 2-14. That happens to everybody if they lose. The
Yeah.
thing is this: you can.
How many years did Eli Manning go through 2-14 seasons?
Not many. I don't know that he ever had a 2-14 season.
Okay, well,
he also went
that's a
through
metaphor for a losing season.
He went through 2 Super Bowl championships.
Yeah, I think that Eli Manning will end up being probably the weakest quarterback ever to go in the Hall of Fame.
No,
and he'll get in there because he's Peyton's brother.
No, he'll get in there because he beat the undefeated New England Patriots, and then he beat the Patriots again a few years later.
Yeah.
Tom Brady.
No, he'll get in.
Tom Brady's 7-3 in Super Bowl.
I would never rank Eli Manning in the top echelon of.
I would take Eli Manning in a Super Bowl as my quarterback.
Anyway, back to it. But back to my original question here in the second part of this. I disagree. I don't want to hear about causes and platforms when I sit down on Sunday. Hang on. I sit down on Sunday to watch a NASCAR race, which I know you don't consider a sport, and a large chunk of the time is spent talking about Bubba Wallace. And Bubba Wallace is a nondescript, mediocre, by NASCAR standards.
But that's not drivers talking about it.
In the 20s.
That's not drivers
when they show the greatest drivers in NASCAR right now, like Chase Elliott, defending champion, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, all white guys, no doubt. But then there's Bubba Wallace's picture right up with him. And he's not even won a NASCAR Cup race yet.
But what's that got to do with what we're talking about, Steve? You're not talking about an athlete protesting. You're talking about
again, it's a sport. It's a sport using a platform. When I just want to watch.
You didn't ask the question about the sport. I do not think a sport should do anything for a platform. I think players, though, should be able to speak out if they want, especially
on their own time.
No, that is their own time because let's face it, in the NFL, there was nothing in their contract saying they couldn't take a knee. The NBA, you didn't see them take a knee because in their contract from the mid-'90s was that you had to stand for the national anthem. That's on the NFL. You know, you can't tell me that you're going to be fired from Lowe's because you take a knee during the national anthem. Unless it's in the contract. If it's in the contract, then yeah, you have to stand up. But if it wasn't agreed upon, you know, Steve, I think there is a serious issue with cops beating the hell out of them, killing people, and choking them to death. And I don't have a problem with somebody who wants to bring that to the attention of people who weren't paying attention to it before. And what Colin Kaepernick did, I had no issue with it. You can go back and find 3 or 4 articles I wrote. We had this discussion that I thought he was completely right on that. I just don't like what he's done since then because I think if he would have came back and he would have signed with the Ravens in 2017, Lamar Jackson may never get drafted by the Ravens. Colin Kaepernick may have taken over for Joe Flacco. And what you got to understand, if you're really about the movement, if you come back and play, you have a bigger platform winning a Super Bowl than any platform you could ever have. That's
Right.
why I say he sold out because he took the money from Nike and he didn't play anymore. He's had multiple opportunities to come back and play, and he hasn't. Tim Tebow was what was it, 2012? He's starting quarterback for the Broncos, takes them to the playoffs, throws a game-winning touchdown pass in overtime, and then he gets cut. If he would have been a black quarterback, how would that have been received? Even in 2012, it would have been screamed racism. But no, it's Tim Tebow. We make fun of the way he throws, but the dude won football games. And everybody could say he's a terrible quarterback, but he's not a terrible football player. He's usable on a football team. I don't know if he's usable 9 years after. That's what we're going to find out. But if I'm Urban Meyer and I won 2 national championships with this dude leading my team, and I know that he led a team to the playoffs and won a playoff game, and I've got a group of maybe 40 guys under the age of 25 on my Jacksonville Jaguar roster, why wouldn't I want to bring him in? And what's to say that they don't bring him in, don't find out that he can't play good enough anymore, and they make him a coach?
I agree with you, Mike. I agree with you. The only difference, I don't know if it's a difference actually. I don't think that during the national anthem or during halftime show, Super Bowl, or wherever else is the proper place to launch your protest or your statement.
Well, this is the
I
thing.
think if LeBron James wants to go get on Twitter, wants to get on Facebook, wants to go get on ESPN with Stephen A. Smith and talk about the issues facing black athletes in this world today, then I think that's fine. To sit there and do it when everybody sits down, pays money, either if you're there or you pay for an NBA pass, an NFL pass, an MLB pass, or you're just watching it on cable. I think that's not the appropriate time and place to do it.
Well, I mean,
but I understand it's the most visible platform.
No, I'm just telling you this, Steve. I don't go to a game. I'm not going to pay to go to a game because somebody's going to stand for a freaking song. I mean, what the hell does that matter to me? I don't care if you take a knee during a song. Hell, I'm probably taking a piss for kickoff because it'll be crowded after that. Can't go at halftime because it's backed up. So don't tell me that, Steve. Ain't nobody. I don't go there. I have never went to a game and paid attention to the players and what they did during the national anthem because I generally don't care. That is why I generally don't care if they take a knee. And you know what? Everybody could say it's disrespectful to the troops and the flags, but those are the same people that are wearing the flag on their clothes on the 4th of July, which is a violation of the flag code. That's disrespectful to the flag also. So once again, when you say should athletes take a stand, my question is this: was Muhammad Ali right to give up 3 years, the best 3 years of his career, for a cause he believed in, which was not fighting in Vietnam? I mean, I hate to tell people this, but the thing that disrespects fallen soldiers since 1946 to now is the fact that they were not fighting for our freedom. They weren't. They were fighting for rich people to get richer. You know, what's Vietnam going to do to us? That was the old BS domino theory that if this country's communist, then this one will be and this one will be. But we pulled out of there in 1975, and I think our relations with Vietnam are a lot better right now than they ever were. So you had, 56 or 66,000 Americans, poor Americans, under the age of 25, go and die because some rich asshole in the White House said that's what should be done. I mean, that's an issue. There's nobody. We go over and we fight in places like Afghanistan. We fight in Iran and Iraq. I mean, these are places that don't have the means to fight us. They don't have an Air Force. They don't have a Navy. They can't come get us. So let's quit playing the BS crap that, the people in the military are defending us. No, what it is the people in the military are defending rich people's interests, whether it's oil, opioid fields, whatever it is. That's what they're doing. They send the poor people to die for the rich people.
Yeah, I mean, I have no comment on it. I mean, I can't, bringing it full circle. Does Tebow make the roster on opening day?
No.
No, I believe he does.
I believe if they want to use him like Taysom Hill, then I would say, yeah, he might.
Yeah.
But once again, he's played baseball the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, it's just I don't see how.
I believe he's a good enough athlete that he can carry himself through camp.
Yeah.
He knows how to get through camp, and I think that he'll make the initial 53-man roster, and we'll see what happens.
Let me ask you this: do you think if we lined him up at DN against or at like offensive guard or tackle, do you think he could block Darren Burns?
No.
I do.
Darren Burns. Yeah, I think he can handle Darren.
I think he would eat Darren up.
I think that Darren would not even want to go against Tim Tebow.
No, Tim Tebow would be outweighed by 100 pounds. He'll smack him and put him down.
Yeah, exactly.
Burns, that was yesterday's show on Survive Advance. The guy
exactly.
Coming back playing in CFL that wants to challenge people that aren't football players to go lift weights and take him on.
All right. I got nothing else.
Oh, you got nothing else? Aren't you excited about the NBA playoffs?
No, I'm not talking about NBA playoffs yet.
Hey, the Pacers are going to make the playoffs, though, Steve.
Yeah, they are.
In the play-in game, whatever the hell that is. I didn't even know about that.
I'm a Clippers fan.
No, you're not. You were a Lakers fan last year, Steve.
No, I'm not a Lakers fan.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap the show up. I want to thank Steve. You can follow Steve at SGrizzly34. You can follow me at Grilling Truth. Make sure you go check us out on Rockfin and pretty much everywhere else, including our Facebook page, iHeartRadio, Spotify. But for now, for Steve Grizzly, I'm Mike Goodpastor. You've been watching and listening to The Grilling Truth, where the legends speak.